Has your family ever dreamed of launching its own adventure?
Well, today we are going to give you 5 solid tips on how to do it
The wrong way.
the wrong way. Follow along and learn from our mistakes or just have a good laugh at our stupidity. Come on down, y'all!
Woo!
Woo! Come on down!
This is not The Price is Right. It's not a game show. Come on down, brother. You've been in the US too long, baby.
Come on, y'all! Come on. Okay, wait. We have to get ready.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm doing this.
Ooh.
Did you ever do that in choir?
No.
You know what we did in choir?
I never did choir.
Yeah, well, I did.
What?
And I can't even sing, but I
What?
did. Ready? We went
What? Tell me, show me.
like. Yeah, like that.
No, if that's what you did, I'm glad I never did choir. Goes.
You don't need to clap.
Why? It
Because he sings it in the beginning.
Oh, really? You could have told me that before. Every time it's done, I've been clapping.
I know, you're obsessed with clapping.
And you keep stopping me. You never told me why.
No, I told
Okay.
you.
There you go. Now I know. Okay, introduction, take 4.
Hello, everybody. I'm Skylar,
I'm Ross, and we're the Gilberts. Welcome to Learning Brave's YouTube channel.
your place for authentic, hilarious, embarrassing stories about world travel, plus some tips and tricks on what to do and what not to do.
In today's episode, we're going to be talking about...
We are going to tell you the story of our launch to family adventurous world travel. And we did it all the wrong way. So we have 5 tips on what not to do. Tip 1. Do not sleep the night before. Well, you can sleep maybe 2 or 3 hours.
Maybe a couple of hours.
Go to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning before you get up at 5:30 a.m. for a morning flight.
Yes, that's what you must do that. That's
We do
needed.
that every time. It wasn't just the time we launched. It was it's like every time we fly, we're cursed. And
Yeah.
I know this comes from me. I'm sorry.
And no matter how well we try to plan and say, right, we're going to be really good this time.
This time we're gonna,
Have everything packed
Yeah.
like the week before.
and we're gonna I imagine that I'll be on the flight, well rested and smiling and looking alive.
Well hydrated.
Yeah, without
Inevitably, that doesn't happen for
No,
us.
we are cursed. So it was particularly bad when we launched on our world family adventures. But every time we fly,
Our very first flight, I remember it now, June 2016, Melbourne, Australia. Night before at my parents' home, the kids are asleep. Inevitably, that's what happens, right? As parents, when you're traveling and you've got kids, you hope in your mind that the kids will be so autonomous, and they'll be there helping to pack everything, and you'll be like, have you got your bags packed? And yes, Daddy, I'm all packed.
I don't think that's true.
That's what my mind says.
That's what his mind says.
And the reality is that you end up staying up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning,
It was
inevitably,
more like 3.
maybe 3, packing their bags for them because they've completely destroyed.
Well, not just their bags. We were also we're leaving for such a long time. So we were we'd left all the important stuff, like downloading our favorite music
Yes.
till the end. And so we were up at 2:30 in the morning,
downloading
putting CDs
music.
on, I think we had iTunes then. And so we were downloading our favorite CDs onto iTunes and audiobooks and charging devices and then final bits and pieces. So if you would like to arrive to the airport, bags under your eyes, looking like the living dead,
Yes.
kind of everything's a bit
Stressed.
fuzzy and you have a terrible headache,
Snapping at children.
and you look like crap, follow that.
Follow,
Tip number
yeah.
1.
Only sleep a few hours.
Yeah.
Tip number 2. Pack your bags terribly.
No. Pack as much as possible.
That's true.
Get one of those little bag weigh. Get one of
the little
those
bag
little
scales.
bag scales and make sure that every bag is exactly on the limit of weight, and spend all night stuffing things into every corner. So
Every nook and cranny of your bag, it needs to be filled so that you can take maximum weight.
okay.
You paid for your plane ticket. You may as well get as much out of it as possible, right?
Okay, we have a reason. We have a reason behind why we packed so bad. First, inexperience.
Yes.
Second, we're idiots.
We're not idiots.
Yes, we are. Because
You've said that twice on
well,
to
we
the
are
world.
because I'll tell you my thought pattern, and you'll all agree. So we got one. We had 6 plane tickets because we had a baby on our lap, and we had one bag each, and we decided to take 2 guitars with us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we were going to become the Von Trapps.
We're going to Austria.
Yeah, we were going to Austria. So, like, we pulled our kids out of school for the first time. And so we were like,
We
"That's
will
okay,
we
they're
will
gonna-"
homeschool while becoming the
Yeah,
Von Trapps and singing
Images of, like, we'd, like, sit around the fire in the lounge room, and all
Yeah.
my kids would come out of this experience knowing how to play the guitar and sing together. And we could, like, be, like, one of those families that, like are a singing family.
Yeah.
Like, we could make, like, music videos.
Like
or, like,
the
talent,
Osmonds.
or, like, talent nights would be, like, we'd all pull out a guitar
No
and
problem.
we'd be the Von Trapps.
That was the dream.
That was...
The
like,
reality was?
Wait, that was, like, a genuine thought in my head.
Me too.
In my defense, I wasn't sleeping. Like, my baby was, like, 7 months, and he wasn't sleeping through the night. So I was a little bit...
Isn't there a word for that? Baby brain?
Yeah, I was a little bit... My brain was addled.
Yes.
I like that word.
Addled.
Addled. My brain was addled.
Get your dictionaries out, guys. She's going to give us some interesting things.
So, anyway, we had 2 guitars, and we couldn't check them in any other way. They counted as one bag.
Yeah.
So now I had 6 bags and 2 guitars.
You can fit a lot into a guitar case, by the way.
We didn't.
Yeah, I fit all sorts of stuff. I had a soft guitar case and I fit all sorts
Oh
of stuff.
yeah, we did too.
Like around the edge of the guitar, you know how it sort of curves over? Like in the case is like this much room.
Yeah, so he's just
And
proving...
we just put like, I put like clothes, I rolled my shirts and they were all placed there around the guitar. Soft cushioning and everything.
Yeah. See, as much as you can fit in each little crevice.
That's
So
it.
we were down to 4 bags, and then of course we were also going to become like champion skiers.
Yes, in Europe. So we had to bring all our ski gear as well.
Well, not ski gear, more like puffy jackets and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like ski
No,
coats,
we had ski pants, ski jackets, gloves,
hats,
beanies,
scarves, all that
the
stuff.
whole lot was in
For
our...
7 people.
Yeah.
So, and we were arriving in summertime. So we filled a huge duffel bag just with our snow gear.
All right, now we just need to pause there and just reflect on something. So we just talked about the guitars and the ski gear. Let me ask you a couple of questions. How many times did we get the guitars out and use them in our 9 months in Europe? Twice. How many times did we use our ski gear for skiing? Never. How many times did we use it so the kids could just go and get filthy muddy? Lots.
Yeah.
So I guess that was worth its while.
So we're idiots!
That's really funny. I love that.
So we were down to 3 bags for 7 people who were not natural minimalists.
Yes.
That's me. I'm not a minimalist. All the other travel families I've ever met ever since and that I see online are all like perfect minimalists. We're not. I'm going to address that more later, but like I'm like the world's worst overpacker. I'm terrible. Like I see the need for 27 dresses,
Indeed.
like in every
You do.
location.
You're much better now, though. Much better.
I'm much more minimal. I only have like 7 pairs of shoes.
She only has 2 suitcases for herself now.
Yeah.
We all share.
But we tried, and so before we left, I remember like being up in the middle of the night and breastfeeding Bowen and like scrolling through Pinterest and being obsessed with making a capsule wardrobe. A capsule wardrobe is where like every item matches everything else and you only need like 5 things and you can wear like 20 different outfits. if you have
I actually remember you showing me something on Pinterest where you have like the shirt and the pants and the everything, and it all rolls up together into one nice little package, and then you put it in like that. I was like, that is never going to work.
Yeah, we
for
tried
our
that
children.
too. So the capsule wardrobe thing didn't work for me because like nothing I owned was like
matched?
No, because everything I own is like prints and colourful, and it was nothing like it. All their stuff is like plain stuff. Anyway, and we didn't have the money to just go buy new capsule wardrobes for everyone. So we just like, I don't know, we overthought it. So we were down to 3 bags, and then
Well, the one thing is, when you overthink it, what ends up happening is more is best.
So we were homeschooling for the first time. So we were like, we need books and we need stuff for that. So we had instruments and textbooks and clothes for like all different seasons. And, you know, we needed like rash guards for swimming and hats and sunscreen and like everything you could ever imagine. We'd prepared it and packed. So to compensate for only having 3 bags, the way we got around that was to stuff the hand luggage as full as possible. So our kids all had a backpack each, like a small one, and we put our laptops and all real heavy stuff in.
And they weren't old. As we said in the previous one, our oldest was 11 and our youngest was 8 months old. We could barely
carry them. But that's okay, because when we arrived at the airport, we had like a trolley.
Yeah, we had the pram, like the stroller for the baby.
Yeah, we had a stroller.
And we take the baby out and put the bags in the stroller.
Well, we had the stroller and we had a car seat that we like wheeled around the airport.
Yes.
So we had all these ways to like transport ourselves with our luggage in an airport.
Now that is great. Except when you arrive at your stopover airport, which for us was it Shanghai? I think it was Beijing. No, Shanghai. Shanghai was our stopover airport. And when we arrived, we came out and we had to walk down onto the tarmac and into this huge shed that was like, it was like an animal shed that everyone was just packed into. And they never bought us our pram or stroller. They never bought us our other stuff. We had to literally have everything put on our backs, and that didn't work very well after 12 hours being in an airplane with our children who were so overtired.
And we were.
In the end, I think I was carrying just about everything while they all whinged and just walked along.
We quickly discovered that we couldn't actually move with our luggage by ourselves. Like to get from A to B with our bags, suitcases and backpacks, we couldn't do that by ourselves without extra trolley.
We were not baggage self-sufficient at all.
So we flew for 12 hours and arrived for our stopover, and we thought we were being really clever because we would stay for one night and we'd get a night's sleep. And we all got off the plane, and like Ross was saying, we didn't get our stroller and our car seat given to us. We had to carry everything through this humongous tin shed to get through immigration. And because we were the cheap, crappy flight,
it was a free for all. It really was a free for all.
Like,
pushing, shoving.
All the people like,
get out the way.
It's so cute. And then shove past.
Yeah.
There were like hundreds and hundreds of people, and we ended up the very, very last humans in the building. And then as it was like trickling down, like the people working in immigration started leaving.
They left.
And
then there was one person left.
And by the time we got there was one person left.
We were it. We were the last people.
Before that, like our kids could barely carry their backpacks because we'd overpacked them. We had heavy stuff. And so they were like, I'm not doing this. And they're like throwing them on the ground and crying. And
I remember being in that line of immigration as we came into Shanghai. We were in that tin shed. It was sweltering outside too. It was June in Shanghai. We were there for nearly an hour waiting to be processed to get out. And by the time we got through that and we were into the hotel, into the airport lounge.
I thought it was longer than an hour.
No, I think it was about an hour, which was long enough.
Like 100 hours.
But when we got in there, everybody was so frayed. Like there was no patience left in any of us. I think I ended up just putting everybody down somewhere and saying, sit down, shut up, don't talk to anybody. I got to work out how we're going to get to this hotel.
So, tip number 2, if you want to make your travel as painful as possible, pack as much as you can and make it really heavy and make it so that you're unable to move with your own luggage. Tip 3. Choose the cheapest, crappiest flight you can find. Don't worry about time. Like if you have to leave at like 2 a.m, that's good. And if they feed you no food or the food tastes like dog food.
That was our experience, unfortunately.
I hope to never fly
I can't even
Eastern.
remember.
It was
No,
Eastern.
it was-
It was Eastern something. It was like Eastern Asia.
It was East Asia Airlines or Southeastern Airlines or
we
some
had-
Chinese air flight that was just awful.
We were flying to Europe from
Melbourne.
Australia, and we had to do that in 2 legs because it's such a long way.
12 hours to Shanghai and then 12 hours to Zurich, Switzerland.
Oh yeah. Whew. So we flew the cheapest, crappiest flight that we could find to save money, and it was awful. Like the plane was dirty and gross, and there was like no
There was
food.
non-existent air hostesses
Oh
to
man!
help out.
And I had to breastfeed the whole time.
I remember that. That was hard. It was hard.
So hard. But that first trip, we actually had some of our own snacks. That's why we survived.
Luckily.
I had like some avocado and like crackers and
Yeah.
stuff.
I guess the tip here is if you're going to choose to fly through a cheap airline, which there are plenty out there and they're great, we've used them many times since, come very prepared. Just come prepared with your entertainment, with snacks.
Oh yeah, that wasn't even entertaining.
Yeah, with everything you need on an airplane. Don't expect it because you will not get it. You will not get it. The entertainment that they make on these sort of cheap airlines, particularly this Chinese cheap airline, which we probably we'll probably get into trouble if we say their name. But anyway.
No one should fly them. They were terrible. China.
Their entertainment was this. The passengers were so bored that our 8-month-old was crawling down the aisle. Like, complete strangers would pick him up and go, oh, and pass him to their friend that passed them to their friend that just... He was crowd surfing.
It was like baby surfing.
All, like this little white baby crowd surfing amongst all these... We were in the very last part of the aeroplane. It was like crowd surfing. All these Chinese people were just passing him around. It was, I thought it was cute to start with, but after a little while, I'm a little bit like, could you get your hands off my kid? I don't know where your hands have been. And, it was just, I felt like wiping him down with wipes afterwards. It was just...
And it's like 12 hours. It was
It was crazy.
So, I mean, not everyone has the option to choose flights, but if you have the money to do that, oh boy. Because our next flight was like Swiss Air. It just happened that way. I mean, that was a cheap flight too.
It was a sort of a hallelujah moment as we got onto that plane the next day.
They had like snacks and like colouring stuff for the kids. It was clean.
They fed us ice cream as soon as we arrived on the plane.
It was like heaven.
Tip number 3. When you are launching out on your first overseas travel adventure with your family, choose the crappiest, worst hotel possible for your stopover destination.
And don't do much research.
No.
Just assume
Yep.
that your hotel experience
It's going to be just like it is
like at home.
in your home country. Because that's what we did. And I looked on the internet, I found this hotel, I was like, that's cheap. And it says it's like within 5 kilometers from the airport. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
We're going to be, and there's a shuttle bus will take us there. And everything is going to be great. I assumed that they would take credit card. I assumed that there would be a shuttle bus waiting.
And you assume they spoke English.
And I assumed they would speak some English. Like
We
Shanghai
recommend
is-
all of those aspects for tip number 4. So what really happened is we arrived so frazzled and you told us to sit down, and I remember being like angry, evil mum.
Yeah.
Like I had no joy or humour left. It was gone.
Well, you just breastfeeded. You had just breastfed for nearly 12 hours straight, on and off. There was no looking after you on the plane. All of our younger kids were just frazzled. It was a long day. It was a 12-hour flight.
Oh,
It was terrible.
And we were just in our heads we were going to Europe, and even though Ross and I had travelled to like, you know, less well-known places in our past, in our minds we were prepared for Europe for this trip. So when we stopped for one stopover in Shanghai, we just weren't mentally prepared for the onslaught of like people like tagging us for like taxis. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Like
It was an onslaught.
Oh, it was such a sensory overload, and we like freaked out a bit, and we didn't have any cash, and I don't know how, but we somehow got a shuttle.
Well, I ended up, I went outside, I'm looking for the hotel. They said there was a shuttle there, and I was, you know, expecting, like other times I'd gone on travel, there'd be someone there directing you to, oh yes, the shuttle is over there. But as I said, nobody spoke any English. I ended up going to a hire car counter and saying, look, I'm in a bit of trouble, can you help out? And they ended up actually making a phone call to my hotel for me, and then them sending a shuttle out to pick us up.
So we got a shuttle. We loaded all our crap in there, like so much stuff, like guitars and bags and baby stuff.
And I'm like, it's going to be okay. It's only 5 kilometers away. We're going to be in bed soon. I think by now it was past midnight. We're about to get in. I said, we'll be in bed by 1 o'clock. Everything will be fine. So we go there. 45 minutes later, we're still driving through these dark, dingy streets of Shanghai. And I'm thinking, where are we going? And finally we arrived like 50 minutes later. It was like nearly 1 o'clock in the morning. And we arrived there. And again, because we had so much luggage, and we're in a totally foreign country.
Do my side first.
Hang on, wait. Before we did that, we unload the baggage and I'm like, Levi, who's 11, stay here so nobody steals our stuff.
That's my bit. You have to let me say something now.
Tell us about that.
And then you at the desk. So I was with the unloading people, and I just have this memory of like the Chinese guys who were driving the bus, like getting our stuff and piffing it into the foyer of this really crappy hotel. And I'm sitting there like about to like die from exhaustion with a baby and 4 other kids, and they're all little and crying, and we just all had enough. And our stuff was just being like slid across the floor of the lobby, and it was just mounting up because we had way too much crap.
I ripped my moleskin pants off and I was like, I never want to see you again. I just threw it into the bin and I was like, I'm done. I am done with these clothes.
Last one, tip number 5. Stay up all night on your stopover, repacking. Don't sleep, repack all night.
Yes. As I just said, by the time we had arrived, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. And so what else is there to do but stay up for another maybe 2 hours, hour and a half, completely second guessing everything that we'd just done 24 hours before and repack. And we literally culled. Like,
it was mostly me.
We culled all this stuff.
I remember letting you sleep a bit. I remember like we did initially sleep, but then the baby woke up like an hour later, and because I was up and he wasn't gonna sleep, he was crawling, so he was crawling around, and I was just so stressed and so sleep deprived that I was like, I'll just let them sleep and I'll repack everything. And I was like, I remember having these moments. We made this. Well, I made this pile, and you woke up later and helped add to it.
Yeah.
But I made this pile of like my exercise clothes, bin, and like
kids homeschooling books,
bin. We bin that, and like not bin. We just made this big pile.
It was a big pile. I was like, this is brand new stuff.
And I remember just being so so messed up that I was like, I brought 3 watches. It might seem extravagant, but like different ones go with different outfits. Anyway, and I was like,
did you spend like 15 minutes deciding which one needed to go?
I can throw one out, but which one?
Oh,
and then I had to like which ones match the outfits that I'm keeping, and should I keep that white top, or maybe I could do without it. And I just I find that hard anyway, but like when I was so sleep deprived, it was it was a nightmare. So
suffice to say, at the end, by the time the morning came, and we actually had to leave the next morning at about 6 a.m. in the morning. So we got about 2 hours sleep. Maybe, I think Skylar got less.
Yeah.
And we ended up going on our second leg of the journey a little bit lighter. And I think
a little bit wiser.
I think that we really cheered up some Chinese maids that day, because I'm sure that they came into our rooms that morning and said, "Jackpot! Look at all this stuff!" Because there was all this new stuff that we just left behind that they would have just loved to have. Yeah. So there are our 5 tips of what to definitely do if you want to screw up your first launch out on family adventure.
We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to comment below. And remember to subscribe if you'd like to hear some more stories. And if you like this particular nightmarish story, it's all in my blog, so I'll put the link down below as well. So
thank you.
See you later.
You! 5 solid tricks. My Corona.